Here are 7 hidden signs an INFJ is emotionally exhausted. Number 1. They withdraw from social interaction, even with loved ones. When an INFJ is emotionally exhausted, the first thing you'll notice is that they start pulling back, even from the people they care about most. Normally warm, attentive, and deeply connected, they might suddenly seem distant, quiet, or absent. This withdrawal isn't about disinterest or coldness. INFJs simply need to recharge their emotional batteries. They've been giving so much of themselves, absorbing the emotions, needs, and energy of others, that their own reserves are running dangerously low. Being around people, even loved ones, can feel like an overwhelming drain rather than a source of joy. You might notice them declining invitations, avoiding small talk, or spending more time alone in their head than usual. They may not explain why. They often feel it's easier to just retreat quietly than to talk about their exhaustion. It can feel confusing or even hurtful to those around them because INFJs normally thrive on connection. But this withdrawal is a protective mechanism. By creating distance, they give themselves the mental and emotional space to process, recover, and regain balance. During this time, it's not about pushing them to socialize, it's about respecting their need for solitude, understanding that their absence is temporary, and trusting that they'll return when they've restored their emotional energy. Number 2. They seem distracted or lost in thought more than usual. When an INFJ is emotionally drained, their mind often drifts into overdrive. You might notice them staring off into space, zoning out during conversations, or taking longer than usual to respond. Their attention seems elsewhere, and it can be easy to misinterpret this as disinterest. In reality, their brain is juggling a million things at once, processing emotions, analyzing past interactions, or planning how to restore balance in their lives. Every little detail they normally notice might require extra mental effort, so they retreat inward to handle it all. This distracted behavior is subtle but telling. They may appear physically present but mentally distant, giving the impression that something is off. They're not ignoring you, they're just running internal systems that help them cope with the emotional overload they're experiencing. Recognizing this sign is key. An INFJ who seems lost in thought is often quietly trying to process their own feelings and protect themselves from further emotional strain. It's a sign they need patience, space, and understanding rather than pressure or judgment. Number 3. Their usual empathy feels distant. One of the most noticeable signs that an INFJ is emotionally exhausted is a subtle shift in their empathy. Normally, INFJs are deeply attuned to other people's feelings, picking up on emotions and energy effortlessly. But when they're drained, that intuitive sensitivity can start to fade. They might seem less responsive to others' emotional cues, struggle to offer comfort, or appear distant in conversations that would normally draw their full attention. It's not that they care less, it's that their emotional resources are temporarily depleted. Every interaction requires effort, and they may simply not have the energy to engage as fully as they normally would. This can feel confusing or even hurtful to those around them, because INFJs are usually so reliably compassionate. But it's a clear signal that they need a break, space to recharge, and time to reconnect with their own feelings before they can fully give to others again. Recognizing this sign early can help prevent misunderstandings. Instead of assuming they're being cold or uncaring, understand that their empathy is on pause, not gone. It's a protective mechanism that allows them to recover without becoming completely overwhelmed. Number 4. They become irritable or easily frustrated. When INFJs are emotionally exhausted, even small annoyances can feel magnified. Someone interrupting their thoughts, a minor inconvenience, or repetitive social interactions might trigger unusually strong reactions. Their usual patience and calm demeanor can give way to irritability, snapping, or frustration over things that normally wouldn't bother them. This shift isn't a reflection of their character, it's their emotional reserves running low. They've been giving so much of themselves that even simple interactions start to feel draining. Their tolerance for stress, noise, or emotional labor is temporarily reduced, and it shows in their reactions. It can be easy to misinterpret this behavior as them being moody or unfairly critical. But in reality, it's a warning sign. They need space to reset, process their emotions, and regain balance. Recognizing that their irritability is a symptom of exhaustion rather than a personal attack helps maintain understanding and patience. in your relationship with them. So, when an INTP isn't running around doing everything, it doesn't mean they don't care. It means they're carefully choosing where to spend their energy, ensuring it counts. For them, efficiency is love, curiosity, and survival all rolled into one. Their laziness is just a misinterpretation of their deliberate focus. Number 5, they stop sharing their inner thoughts. INFJs are usually open, introspective, and eager to connect on a deep emotional level. But when they're emotionally exhausted, you'll notice a significant change in this behavior. They may stop volunteering insights into their thoughts, feelings, or plans, keeping their inner world tightly sealed. This sudden silence isn't a lack of trust or affection, it's a coping mechanism. Sharing their emotions requires energy, and when they're drained, they simply don't have the emotional bandwidth to articulate or process what they're feeling in a way that makes sense. Talking about feelings can feel overwhelming rather than relieving, so they retreat inward. You might notice them giving shorter responses, avoiding deep conversations, or deflecting questions about how they're doing. This isn't them shutting you out permanently, it's their way of protecting themselves from further emotional overload. During this time, they may still observe and care quietly, but the usual emotional transparency is temporarily paused. The key is patience, giving them space, avoiding pressure to open up, and understanding that their silence is not indifference. It's a signal that they need time to recharge and rebuild their emotional reserves. With INFJs, once they've restored their energy, they'll slowly start to share again, often with even greater clarity and depth than before. Their withdrawal from communication is temporary, not permanent. Number 6, they seek solitude, sometimes without explanation. When INFJs are emotionally exhausted, one of the clearest signs is a sudden need for solitude. They may disappear for hours, spend more time alone than usual, or retreat into activities that allow them to recharge quietly. Unlike normal alone time, this withdrawal often comes without explanation or warning, leaving friends and loved ones puzzled. This solitude isn't about being antisocial, it's about rebuilding their emotional energy. INFJs absorb so much from the world around them that they need time alone to process experiences, sort through emotions, and restore their inner balance. Without this necessary space, they risk becoming overwhelmed, burned out, or emotionally depleted. During these periods, they may not respond to messages promptly or engage in conversations they would normally enjoy. It's not a reflection of their care or interest in others, it's a protective measure. By creating a buffer, they ensure that when they return, they can interact with the same empathy, attentiveness, and depth they're known for. Recognizing this behavior as a sign of exhaustion rather than rejection is key. INFJs often need solitude to heal, recharge, and regain perspective before they can fully re-engage with the world around them. Respecting this need helps them recover faster and preserves the strength of your relationship with them. Number 7, they stop caring about small perfections. INFJs are normally perfectionists in subtle ways, the little details, the thoughtful gestures, the emotional nuance. They notice it all. But when they're emotionally exhausted, this attention to detail often slips. They might leave small tasks unfinished, forget minor commitments, or seem less meticulous than usual. This isn't laziness or apathy, it's their brain prioritizing emotional survival over perfection. Their energy is devoted to essential mental and emotional recovery, so the small stuff gets temporarily deprioritized. They may let things slide that would normally bother them or go unnoticed. It can feel unusual to those who know an INFJ's usual standards, but this letting go is a natural coping mechanism. By lowering the pressure on themselves for minor details, they conserve mental energy for emotional healing. Once recharged, they'll often return to their usual attentive, thoughtful ways. But in the meantime, small imperfections are a sign that they're running on empty. These videos will be really helpful for you.